In a very centralized decision culture where the leaders are taking the decisions, either at home or in office. At home, typically seniors, the parents or the elders take decision, and in the office you see the parents who are the leaders of the organization take decisions. How does it help? It doesn't help. Especially in a software world. Software is a knowledge world. The way a knowledge worker, an engineer who is much better than a senior leader in taking decision for himself or herself at the team level decisions. But we don't let them do it, and it's a struggle, right? We struggle a lot. We're going to talk about that in this video. Welcome to our weekend stories. This is JPA from LeanWisdom. In one of the organizations, right, I was working with, we've implemented very complex, agile transformation in a scaled manner, and I was working with two architects, right? And these two architects are actually very nice guys and pretty good very strong in technical, and pretty good people to interact with. I didn't see any issues with them from the leadership point of view. They were pretty open, but the problem was all the time they were busy. I want to have a half an hour meeting with them. They were always busy, right? From morning 9 till evening 9, probably like that, they are packed, right? So what I told them is, hey, why don't you create a journal, right? From this Monday, for maybe a week or two, let's create a journal to see what do we do? What do you guys do, right? Why are you kept so busy, right? So they said, okay, I don't know if it's going to help, but because you are saying, you are a coach, so we'll do that. They started recording what and all they are doing, right? All the activities. So after 2 weeks, I met them and I said, can you please summarize this and put this in a unique list of actions or work that you do? And we spent kind of half an hour to 45 minutes, brought that list to 33 bullet points. Yeah, 33 unique actions they take in a period of 2 weeks, right? There are quite a few repeated decisions have to take, or the repeated actions have to be taken, but it was unique list was 33. Then I asked them, how do you feel if you get 30% of your time free, right? Let's say 30% of your time. They said, wow, JP, if you fix that, that's great, right? And they were actually happy. I said, great, they're not the hub and spoke decision model. They don't want to hold it. They want to let it go, but they don't know how to do it. Have you seen leaders like that? Majority of the leaders are good. They don't know how to do it, right? So what I did is, I brought a decision, the two different frameworks for decision making, right? The first framework was basically looking at which decision to be centralized, which decision to be decentralized. Decentralized doesn't mean that everything should be decentralized, right? I'm a leader, I'll just let everything go. I'll just sit there, right? I will not take any decision. That doesn't work. On the other side, I am the leader, I will take every decision, I will be owning this everything is also not the right thing. That also will not work. So we have to balance which decisions I should own, which decisions I should let it go, right? So I applied a framework where we made 3 parameters to make a decision whether to decide whether to decentralize or not, right? The first one was, is it a frequent decision? Which means I have to take a decision multiple times in a week, multiple times in a month. I have to change decisions. Things can change, right? Number one. This can be for an architect. This can be for a product manager. This can be for any leader. Yeah. I did with architects, so I want to give you the example. I've done with multiple groups of leadership. This is an example with the architect. So how frequent these decisions have to be made? Number one. Okay. In a scale of 1, 2, 3. One is yes, I take a decision, I don't take a decision very frequently, even 0, right? 0 to 2, right? I would put it. 0 is I don't take decisions very often. Very, very rarely I take decisions. And 2 is I take very frequent decisions, right? I take, yes, decisions have to be taken every moment or every week, every month. You have to frequently change. That's the first one. Second is how critical it is to take the decision right now. Time criticality. Should I take a decision now, or can I take it maybe after a week? Do I need any more information for me to take a decision? Do I have all the knowledge for me to take a decision? Right? If the situation is that yes, I have to take a decision right now, otherwise heaven will fall, put this as 2. No, I think I can delay the decision, right? It's not that I have to take a timely decision. It's important to take a wise decision, the right decision, right? Put it as 0, other side of it, yeah? Second one. Third is economies of scale. How does it impact the people around me? I'm making a decision. Is it just for myself? Does it impact only me? Right? Getting ready and going to office is a decision, right? Is it impacting only me? Or giving an architectural diagram that impacts a lot of people, right? Another extreme. So if the economies of scale is very high, it is impacting my entire, a team of like 100 people or 200 people, then I'll put it as 2. If it is only to me, it doesn't impact anybody else, mark it as 0, right? Now, this formula we have applied, how frequent, how time critical it is, and what is the impact for the rest of the world, right? We applied this 0 to 2, and when some decisions were very clear that it is 0 and 0 and 0, right? Most of the time it is 0 because it is not frequent at all, right? It is not time critical at all. I want to take a right decision, not a timely decision. Oh, this is something that if I make an impact, it will impact very high. The impacting very high is 0, impacting low only to me is 2. This is the only parameter you need to change. Yeah. So it is very, it is not at all a frequent decision. Let's take an example. Architectural runway, right? I need to build an architectural roadmap for this product line, right? Is it frequent? Absolutely no. We don't make architectural decisions very frequent. We make a decision and then we probably stay with that. We may implement architecture slightly different, but fundamental architectural decisions have to be there for a long time, and you don't make a decision like every change. Like you don't change the technology, for example, every 2 weeks or a month. You make a decision like this is going to be like 3-tier, or it's going to be Java based, or it's going to be .NET, it's going to use AWS or some kind of a cloud based. Such decisions are not frequent at all. And is it time critical? No. You want to make sure that you validate with multiple tools and technologies and decide what is the right thing to do. So decision is not frequent and decision is not time critical. Does it impact a lot of people? Absolutely yes. Now when it impacts 0 plus 0 plus 0, total is 0. Okay, this is very clear that it is to be centralized. A decision which is not frequent, which is not time critical, and which is impacting a lot of people, right? Then mark it as centralized. Applied, very clear. Now there are very clear decisions that I am also part of. As an architect, I am also sitting with the team in user story level design. I am pulled into every corner. One of the decisions is I have to also get into user story level design, right? Because my team's coming to me and saying that can you quickly review this, right? A review of the user story. Now, is it frequent? Absolutely yes. We may do 10 stories per team in a sprint. That means you have to take 10 times decisions. Yeah, is it time critical that you have to do it right now? Absolutely. In this sprint, you have to finish it. Does it impact everybody? May not be. Because it's very small stories design. Right? So 2 plus 2 plus 2, it is 6. It is very clear that, okay, now this is now, a decision to be decentralized. I don't want to get into it. Are you with me? Right? So identify the decisions. We have identified decisions like that. Then we saw clearly, like 7 or 8 decisions that was very clear that only the architect should work on it. It should not be decentralized. There are another bunch of more than half a dozen or around 8 to 10 decisions where to be decentralized, we are holding it. Right? Unnecessarily architect is holding, which he or she should let it go. Right? These 2 architects, these guys were holding it. They were not ready to give because they were not confident. So I was asking them, why are you holding it? And they said, no, because teams come to us, because this is a practice. It's not just, there is no big reason behind this, right? Sometimes, we have been doing like this. They said, okay, now you have to change, right? You have to practice. Okay, certain decisions have to go clearly out. Now, there are a bunch of decisions which are in the middle, which is neither 6 nor 0. It's somewhere around 3 or 4, if I put this number, right? What do? Now we brought another framework or a tool called Delegation Poker, right? The Delegation Poker is such a wonderful tool which tells you how do you delegate a decision from yourself to somebody else. There are 7 steps of delegation. The first is there is absolutely no delegation. What does it mean? I make a decision, I just communicate. That's it. Everybody will have to listen. First delegation. The seventh delegation is I am not even involved. I come in, people are taking decisions and everything is running smooth. I'm not even involved. So moving from this step to this step, you cannot just move overnight from here to here because you have never practiced it, right? Handing over completely there, right? It may be a disaster. Now, the leaders were also confused that, I don't want to see, there are certain decisions we are not sure whether we can just delegate completely. Without us, it will not work, but we still want to try delegation. Great. What I did is, I brought the next level leaders, right? And they was called as a team level architects. We had a kind of, architects who were in the, in the making, right? There's a couple of next team level architects who will become architect maybe after 2-3 years. Now, we wanted them to take some of this. So I brought all those architects and I made them sit there. And then we, as a whole, we took a decision how much of support you need from these leaders. What support you need from these leaders, right? To architects. So now, the delegation poker gives you 5 more steps in the middle. The second step is, I will tell you, right? In the past, I was just making a decision, I am not even telling anybody, just hey, this is my decision. Now, I will come and tell you, as an architect, I will come and tell my team architects and then communicate explicitly saying, hey, this is the decision I'm making, right? I want you to know upfront, right? Second is, I will listen to you, I'll take your feedback and I will decide. Third is, let us sit together and decide, right? Let us sit together and decide. I'm not going to make a decision. We are going to make a decision. So, you see, in the first delegation step, my team architect is not even there in the picture. In the second one, I'm at least bringing him or her just to make a decision. Okay, I made a decision. I want you to know. The third is, I will ask you so that I will ask you what is your opinion, but I will make a decision. The next step is, let us sit together. We are equal. Now you see, in this step we are equal. We will sit together and do it. After that, some decisions where I want to go back, but I want you to take a decision, but you can take input from me. You make a decision. It's a reverse of the previous one. Yeah? I will make a decision, I will take a feedback, and then we will sit together, and then you make a decision, but I can give you feedback. After that is only inquire. I will just inquire what decisions you made. I may not give you feedback, but I want to know what decision you made. Right? Most of the time I may not give, sometimes I may give, right? But very rarely. The last one is fully delegated, right? So the moment you have implemented this, and I ask the leaders, guys, you are bunch of decisions, like 10, 12 decisions which are not clear, which is neither extreme 1 or nor 7, right? I don't want the architect to hold it, and I don't want the architect to completely give it also. Now when I ask these leaders, they made a decision that, this decision, team architect said, I think let's move to step 3 in the next 6 months, right? We want to just, we want to provide our input, but let him own it, right? After that, okay, 6 months from now, we want to be part of the decision. And then year from now, we want to make a decision and we'll take their inputs. Okay, are you getting ready for it? What do you need to do to get there, right? So suddenly, the community of team level architects felt responsible. Trust me, guys, it has happened very clearly. All of them, when I asked them at the end of the meeting, guys, how do you feel today? That there is something which is coming on your plate, and some of this you are going to fully own it, some of them you are going to coexist with the architect to make decisions. Some of them you will take inputs, some of them they will take input from you, but you are not going to be sitting silently. How does it make? How do you feel it? Everybody said, we feel more responsible, we feel thrilled about it. Not even one person told me that, oh, this is additional responsibility I don't want to take. Now, but this concern came that, but we already have enough things to do. What do I do? I have, how architect had a full thing in place, everything, I'm loaded 12 hours. My team level architects are also loaded. Now I said, why don't you apply this same thing, these two frameworks in your team? Are you making a lot of decisions that the team can make? Your engineers are smart, right? Your engineers are smart. They are super, the college grads today, right? The freshers, even freshers, right? Today they come out are far, far better than the college grads like 20 years back in terms of knowledge, right? They're so good. They got a lot of exposure. So start decentralizing. So what happened was some decisions from architect to team architects came down. Some decisions from team level architects to the team went down. So we found that whole organization got decentralized to a large extent, right? We constantly looked at every 2 weeks we reviewed this. How are we doing it? What are the challenges you have? Right? Are you able to decentralize? The reason why I did this review every 2 weeks is also because we are a centralized culture. Decisions are made by the leaders and expected like that, especially in some part of the world where decisions are to a large extent made by the seniors, right? Can be a senior most person in the family or senior most person in the organization at whatever context, right? This was a challenge. Now the moment we did it, I want to make sure that it is fully implemented, because it's very easy to go back to the trap of, okay, let me make a decision and move on, right? When we constantly reviewed it, I started seeing a change, right? After 6 months, when I met these two architects, when I asked them, how do you feel it now? How does it go for you, right? They said, JP, I have time to eat and sleep. And I feel that my next level leaders are also coming up, which never happened in the last 2-3 years. It is our mistake that we didn't decentralize. They are so good. It came out of architects. And trust me, these two architects that I worked with, they are one of the best architects that I have seen. Right? I worked with a lot of leaders. Right? In this particular engagement, these two architects were really good architects. Right? And then they were so technically good, and they have knowledge for every topic that you talk about. And they're very open, right? Work with in a lean agile way. And actually, 6 months later, they are very happy. Year later, it was even better, right? One of the architects was saying that, JP, you made us redundant. I think I should look for another job. Joking, right? He was just making fun that some of the team level architects have come up so much that not everybody, few team architects. Right? And they started taking more responsibility. This structure, this framework, these two frameworks actually helped move the decisions, right? Some decisions up, some majority of the decisions down, and some decisions are in the middle that we both will work. It was very beautiful. I thought I'll share this experience, right? Please do this. This is a culture. Decentralization is a culture. Sometimes people ask, what is Agile? Agile is a culture. Agile is a value. Right? Decentralization is one of the values that we need to build. Just implementing Scrum, doing sprint planning, review, retrospective does not bring a culture. It just brings a process. We need to focus on a culture and go behind it in an implementation. Our process and practices and everything should help build that culture. Yeah. So this is an example of how do you build a decentralized culture in an organization. Hope this video is helpful, and thanks for listening, and have a great weekend. See you next week.